waiting to hear your voice.
Can you hear me, Dale?
I got you, Ilya. How are you, my friend? It's been such a long time.
Well, I'm surprised that I was able to get in. So
okay.
It's no longer Skype, just the voice, right?
Okay. Yes, it's the voice. You didn't bring any charts or anything to show, did you? So I'm going to show your May newsletter.
Charts will be ancient Greek to most of the people, so I'd rather talk.
Okay, so why don't, if you could see, I have your May 2018 newsletter up here, and perhaps we could go through your topics, your headings here, and get an update from you. And it started off talking about the Trump presidency and his chance for re-election in 2020. You believe that it will happen? Has anything changed in the stars for Donald Trump with what's going on? And you also correctly predicted, I believe, his election, and that it would be a contentious presidency because that's what he thrives on.
Well, in terms of re-election, most likely he will not be re-elected.
That's changed. Okay.
No, it's not changed. This is what this is what I wrote in my newsletter. But
okay,
I will reserve my final judgments maybe a year from now. The reason for it is the same planetary configurations that got him elected will prevent him from being re-elected. The thing is that right now we're living through Uranus-Neptune stressful aspects, 45 degrees semi-square. And anytime we had such aspects in the past, there was a change of party of the United States presidents. So the United States was elected during this aspect, and the next time the election will also take place during this aspect. So there will be a change of party, most likely. Why I reserve my judgment to the last moment? Because United States and Donald Trump, they have very particular charts, and there is still a very, very slight possibility that Donald Trump will pull it out one more time. But it would be better for him if he doesn't, because he's likely to experience in 2021 one of the greatest challenges in his life, as well as it does correspond to some problems with presidency in the chart of the United States.
Okay, so what's that challenge going to be in 2021?
In 2021, most likely two possibilities: legal challenges and health issues.
Okay. All right, so it's personal, it's not geo.
He will not be impeached. There are two things. It is personal, and at the same time it does correspond to the chart of the United States. To give you a hint of what it is, under similar planetary conditions and the same position of Pluto, which will take place in 2021, United States impeached King George. So the position of Pluto would be exactly at the same place as at the writing of the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's based on our chart is based upon the Declaration of Independence. So why don't we, any view on what might happen here in the midterms? They're just a few months away.
I did not study midterm elections in the past, so I do not have any opinion on the subject.
Okay, gloom without doom. So update on that topic that I'm showing. The post-election syndrome. A lot of people were upset about the election. But you know, the markets exploded on the election, so they called it the Trump rally.
Yeah, in terms of gloom without doom, as I have written previously a few times, actually more than a few times, Uranus-Neptune semi-square, it is a stressful aspect, but it is not especially stressful. But what it does, mostly because of the influence of Neptune, Neptune is a planet of Hollywood. It's a planet of movie industry. It's a planet of imagination, creativity. So with negative aspects from Uranus, it creates an impression. It creates a theater, but it is not able to create a really terrible disasters on a grand scale. More like minor disaster, like lone terrorists and individuals prone to psychotic breakdown do some kind of terrorist actions, but not really major.
No 9/11s.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nothing even close. So
okay.
Donald Trump presidency, there was a lot of expectations of fascist dictatorships in the United States, and also expectations of Donald Trump being a savior and redeemer for almost half of the populations. Neither is correct. Most of it is theatric, as almost everything else that is happening on the planet right now. Regarding the Trump rally, as I have written previously, right now the markets are managed. It is not just a free, the movement of the market is not a free flow of based on the buying and selling of individuals like you and me.
But central planning, the central banks, the BOJ owns stocks, they own ETFs, they own the stock market, which has never happened before.
Well, so this is more like psychological explanation. Astrological explanations, there are two influences that are affecting the market, two major influences, and more will come in the future. So at the present, as I mentioned earlier, Uranus-Neptune semi-square. In the past, at the time of Nixon, in 1972-74, I believe, there was a fairly severe recession with the market going down 43%. So this is the influence on the negative side of the market, pulling the market down. There is another positive influence. There is an asteroid Chiron. I didn't write much about him before because I learned about it fairly recently. This Chiron is fairly small, but its influence is fairly strong to the point that most of the United States prolonged runaway bull markets, like the one from 1922 to 1929, and the one in the 1980s, they occurred during the positive aspect of Chiron to Uranus. At the moment, we have, again, this positive aspect from Chiron to Uranus starting in 2008 and ending in 2024. So there's like the negative and positive influences are about equal, but nevertheless, in a short run, the negative influence, the bearish influence on the market will prevail, and it will start probably September, October, and will continue on and off for a couple of years. It's not going to be a severe recession. The recession will be so mild, and with the influence of theatrical Neptune, the present government, people who manage the market, that might be able to explain it away, and we will not see it as numbers on the screen. But economical difficulties, not severe, mild, are likely to persevere for a couple of years. The reason for it is that we also have the influence of Saturn. Saturn will enter the United States second house of money. And I trace this in the course of the whole United States history. Anytime it happens, there is an economic downturn. The last time it it occurred in the early 1980s, and then before in the early 1990s and early 1980s.
And when's it going to begin this time?
It's going to begin in a couple of months down the road.
Okay, the fall.
Possibly beginning of next year. If you give me a minute, look at my books, and we'll tell you more or less.
Yeah. All right, and while you're doing that, Ilya, you know, I know that you and your girlfriend, your wife, moved down to Argentina. What was it like living through a currency crisis down there?
Well, nothing.
It was like nothing because you had dollars?
Argentina is a unique place in terms of the currency. It is the only country in the world that can function with a inflation of like probably they have between 30 and 40% a year. And there was a time that they had 1,000% a year inflation.
Like and Venezuela has 1 million?
No, they never had 1 million.
Oh, I thought they had 1 million now.
Venezuela does, but I did not study Venezuela much.
Oh, okay. All right. So during that currency crisis, what was it like?
Houses are running. For us, with American dollars, the life is very good.
Okay, because you had dollars. Okay.
Well,
is it easy for Argentinians to get dollars, or are they buying cryptocurrency?
They don't
to survive.
No, at least people I know do not buy cryptocurrency. They buy dollars. With the present government in Argentina, they can exchange the pesos for dollars, and this is how they save. This is how they use of their capital.
Okay.
Like as I looked, it's likely to start as early as January, but it does not, like with astrology, it is not an exact shift with Saturn entering the second house of money in the US chart. So it may the influence. The stock market is likely to give signals of going down in a month or two, because there are other planetary influences that are too long to explain. And also, when Pluto will make an exact conjunction to Pluto in the US chart, also, most of the time in the US history, we had economic downturns. But as I mentioned earlier, it will be fairly mild.
Okay, so fairly mild. I know that you've been, as of our contact, you were accumulating precious metals. How do you ride out and add, when your work tells you something and the market's doing something else, how do you maintain your conviction to stay with a position like that?
Well, I don't follow your principle. Once you wrote that if you cannot change your mind, soon you will have no change.
Oh, W.D. Gann, yeah.
I'm still in gold, and the reason I am in gold, that under similar configuration between Uranus and Neptune in the 1970s, the gold went up dramatically. And also there was...
Well, you have to admit, from where it was, say, almost 1,400 to now being, 1,200, that's a pretty good decline.
Actually, the top was, I think, close to 1,900.
Oh, that was in 2011. But even this year, it was 1,360, 1,380, and it's been downhill since then. So do you have any price levels that you pay attention to?
I cannot determine the price level. Well, it is possible. I have not done it. I'm still certain that the gold will go up in price, and the reason it is going down, even though by all logical.
Because that's being managed too, like the stock market.
I read, see, like I don't have enough qualifications to give you a convinced reply that I really studied the economic and mechanics of it. But what I do know that Neptune is a planet of illusion, and
Okay.
I believe that it is the people who manage gold. They're making an impression, but I don't think that under the future astrological influences from the planets, they will be able to maintain it. And also there is something that I know psychologically, that I did consult a few people with the same psychological profile as those who manage the market. These people are daring. They're very courageous. They will not miss an opportunity to allow the market drop, because this is how they make money, to buying low. And the same way, they will not miss an opportunity to allow the gold to jump up again in order to make money. And this is where I believe they're going to make a mistake, because they believe themselves invincible and invulnerable. And at a certain point, they won't be able to control the market.
Okay. So you did talk about North Korea and said that nothing will be solved soon. And, you know, we had that summit meeting between the two presidents, and President Trump walked away saying they're no longer a threat. Do you think there's still a threat?
I don't think they have ever been a threat. I believe most of it is a theatric. So I don't believe that they ever had an intention to use nuclear weapons, either side.
Okay.
What I observed from the planetary configurations in the past, we had this United States could have solved the Korean problem in the 1990s. If the problem should have been solved before 1994. In 1994, another cycle started, another Uranus-Neptune cycle started, and from 1994 it will continue. To be more precise, 1993, it will continue for another 172 and a half years. So
wow.
whatever was not finished in the previous cycle and spilled over to the next.
Clinton blew it. That was the time window to do it. He thought he had a deal, and the narrative is that North Korea reneged on it.
From what I read, United States Congress refused to ratify the deal.
Okay.
And
all right.
Like I don't see a nuclear war. I don't see a serious confrontations, but the problem will continue for at least another 80 years.
Okay. I'm interested, you know, on previous interviews, and Putin has never been more prominent in the news every day since, you know, the narrative of hacking and trying to influence U.S. elections. What's going to take him down in 2021? What's going to be the Death Star for Putin's reign in Russia?
Like the Death Star, like my previous forecast was that he was likely to leave in 2017. So my forecast did not come to fruition. Nevertheless, there is definite change and shift in Russian policy. What I know for sure that the relationship between Russia and United States will improve dramatically, very similar to what happened during the presidency of President
Reagan.
Nixon in
with China. With China?
And Russia. Nixon went to Russia, and there was a dramatic shift. So I expect the same dramatic shift and the end of the Cold War. And also in the Russian history, starting from 1830, anytime we have stressful aspects between Uranus and Pluto, there is a change of government. Usually the head of government, but not always. So I still anticipate two things. The Russian government changing and warming up to the United States, establishing much better relationship, at least the end of the new Cold War. And also I expect a change in government. So even if Putin stays in power, it would be a different Putin with a different policy. I'm reasonably certain about it.
Okay. And anything else you want to touch upon before I let people know? I'm getting some people want to know how they could contact you. So here's Ilya's website, www.astroeconomiccycles.com. And there's also an email that you could go to. And you published a book
Yes.
since we last talked. You want to talk about the book and how people could get it?
The book is Impeachment or Not, Future of Presidency and Astrological Forecast.
Okay. Did Alan Dershowitz read your book before he wrote his?
Say it again?
Did Alan Dershowitz read your book before he wrote his about not to impeach? Alan Dershowitz, the Harvard professor, attorney.
I never.
Okay. Well, I'm saying maybe he read yours, Ilya. That's what I'm saying.
The book appeared very recently, only a few days on Amazon and only maybe like a few weeks on my website.
Okay. And here's Ilya's email address right here, ilya78536@earthlink.net. And here's Ilya's phone number, 510-660-8410. Anything you want to wrap it up before you tell me, may the force be with me?
We should not fear Russia. Russia is on the decline. All these Russian actions right now is part of the theatric.
Okay, how about China?
China is not on the decline. China is a future power, but the decline of the United States in relationship to its political influence in the world will not be dramatic. It will be just a slow decline, as was the decline of Great Britain.
Okay. Well, really was a pleasure talking to you, Ilya. It's been a long time. Let's do this again, maybe down the road, sometime in the fall or winter. All you have to do is contact me and let me know when you're available. And you could even do this from Argentina as well. All you have to do is click the link anywhere on the globe and we could have a discussion together. So thank you very much for sharing your ideas and your work with us today. And great talking to you.
Great talking to you, Dale. May the force be with you.
Thank you very much, Ilya. And this is where you guys can contact Ilya. It's all right there. Take a screenshot. And that's a wrap for the week, everyone. Enjoy your weekend, do your homework, and remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll see everyone on Monday.
Bye-bye.
Adios. Bye-bye, Ilya. May the force be with you too.